Hi guys, so in this video we're going to talk about the first and the most important fundamental rule of composition, and that's the rule of thirds. Now, if you cut up your screen and your frame into two vertical and horizontal grid lines, you'll end up getting 9 squares. And what the rule of thirds generally states is that you'll almost always be better off by positioning your subject off-center. If you position your main subject either to the left or to the right or to the top or to the bottom of one of those intersections of the grid lines. So you basically will get 4 intersections of grid lines that you can use to compose your photo. That's basically what the rule of thirds states.
So let's have a look at some examples.
So I'm just trying to find this spot here, and I found this fisherman, and I'm going to use him as an example. And I have a lot of negative space here with this beach, so it's a very, very clear area to practice composition. So whenever you're practicing composition using large open spaces with a lot of negative space is really great, because then you get a clear subject like I have in this case.
And you want to turn the camera grid on over here in the settings. So if you go to your camera settings, you'll see the grid lines, and you want to turn that on, and you'll have this grid which you can now use to practice composition. Now in this case I can actually use the telephoto lens here. It's actually super telephoto, just to illustrate for you even more what I'm talking about. When I have a person, I want to be aiming for the head at this intersection. It just looks better compositionally that way.
And I want to be also using this side of the grid line because you see he's facing that way. There's a bit of implied sort of direction that way. So I want to be using this side of the grid line instead of taking a shot where he's just in the middle. So this is what a typical beginner would do. They just take a shot where he's in the middle, and you know, a typical beginner would take his phone out of his pocket like this, take your phone out at eye level height, and you just quickly and you grab a shot, right? This is what you do. And this is only natural and easy because that's how most people take photos. They put things in the center, they think it's going to look better, attract more attention. So that's usually what beginners do. They don't really tend to think about the rule of thirds. But with the rule of thirds is you usually always get better photos when you're composing according to one of the thirds of the grid lines. And you can see I'm lining up the top grid line with the horizon. So when I'm using the other lens, here I'm using the other telephoto lens, so I'm quite far away because I want to get less noise of the sea in this video. And I have him, you see, at the intersection of the bottom of the grid line. So compositionally, this is a very, very good example of where I'm placing him and where I've got the horizon, and he's at the bottom intersection of the horizon, and then I'm going to take a shot like this. And basically, I have some implied direction here from his fish rod. So I want to be using this side of the grid line and not this side of the grid line, because that just looks awkward. Do you see how it feels a bit awkward? So you want to have enough space on that side. And we're using the top grid line for the horizon. So like here I have another example with 2 guys sort of meditating whilst they're fishing. And usually, you know, you take the phone out of pocket, eye level height, and just take a shot. And I'm using a different lens for this, and as you can see, my subjects are actually, you know, at the thirds here, and I'm using the top grid line here for the horizon, so matching that up with the horizon. And then I'm using these subjects here at the intersections. Do you see how they're at the intersections of the bottom over here, sitting? So this one's not quite at the bottom, but both of them are on this beautiful lineup of the rule of thirds. Now if I use a different lens, straight away that doesn't happen. So that's pretty much it, guys, in this video. Very, very, very basic rule, just, you know, how to use the grid. So if you have one of the latest Samsungs and you want to learn how to take better photos with your phone, then join this photography course below, where I'm going to show you the main rules and guidelines, the powerful techniques that all great photographers use so that you can take better photos. It's going to be really easy to follow this system that I've created, that I've spent 2 years making, and I'm going to show you exactly how to take better photos by giving you direct camera screen recordings from my phone so you can follow exactly what I'm doing. Now, I guarantee you, by the end of this course, you're going to be able to take better photos. And if not, you can have your money back. So click on the link below. There's a huge discount for the course today, and I'll see you guys on the other side.